watched Robocop, the cold, unstoppable cyborg, explosive action, a sci-fi classic that blends violence with satire. But what if I told you this movie was almost impossible to make? Behind the metallic armor and futuristic guns was a production covered by extreme heat, punishing stunts, and a suit that left Peter Weller in constant agony. The script wasn't finished, executives were surprised by the tone, and scenes were rewritten daily right on set. It might sound crazy, but it's only the beginning. Because today we're looking at 12 crazy facts about Robocop that are going to blow your mind. Number 12. The film's locations were so dangerous that the crew had to be protected. Now, I'm not saying the crew was working in a real war zone, but the places where Robocop was filmed sure made it feel that way. The movie wasn't shot on a safe Hollywood set. These were actual streets and buildings, mostly around Dallas, Texas, which included areas like Deep Ellum. This neighborhood was so run down that parts were scheduled for demolition. Add in massive explosions, and you can only imagine how wild it got. Some blasts were so crazy that locals thought real gas stations had exploded and even called the fire department. Actors had to dive out of the way because of pyrotechnics going beyond what anyone expected. They filmed on real city streets, so there was always the risk of something unpredictable happening.
Yes.
Imagine trying to coordinate all of this while regular people were still in the area, reacting to the chaos. With such dangerous setups, the crew had to stay on high alert and adapt quickly, and that makes it the craziest fact about the film. Number 11. Peter Weller originally trained with a mime. It might be crazy, but Peter Weller didn't just put on the Robocop suit and begin acting. He was prepared in a way that nobody could have imagined. To become the part human, part machine hero, he had trained for months with a professional mime and acting coach. But why did he train with a mime? Well, the Robocop suit was big and stiff, and most of his face was covered with a helmet. This meant that he couldn't use normal facial expressions or regular body movements to act. So instead, he had to learn to use his entire body to show what the character was feeling and thinking.
Let the woman go, you are under arrest.
You better back up, pal! Cause he's gonna kill her!
Weller and his training coach worked on every tiny detail of movement, and they made sure that each action was slow, deliberate, and then finished with a sharp mechanical snap. Number 10. The suit caused constant physical pain. One thing that viewers did not see was the immense struggle that Peter Weller endured while wearing the Robocop suit. Designed by Rob Bottin, the costume was a masterpiece on screen, but a nightmare for Weller behind the scenes. The suit was made of rigid and foam rubber pieces weighing anywhere from 25 to an astonishing 80 pounds, and it took over an hour just to put on. But once inside, Weller's movement was severely restricted. Walking became tough, and gripping objects with the massive gloves felt nearly impossible. The helmet visor was so thin that even seeing clearly was a challenge. But here's the craziest part. Weller couldn't even sit in a chair while wearing the full suit. The crew had to get creative and film scenes in unexpected ways. On top of it all, the suit was so hot during filming that Weller would sweat so much, losing up to 3 pounds of water weight each and every day. It got so bad that the crew had to set up special air conditioning systems to cool him off and give him regular breaks to help him get through the tough days of shooting. Number 9. Violence was intentionally exaggerated for satire. The violence in Robocop is definitely extreme, but that was no mistake. The director made it that way on purpose. He wanted everything to be so extreme you couldn't look away. From the terrifying scene where the ED-209 unleashes its fury in the boardroom, to the horrifying moment when Murphy meets his tragic fate, each and every scene was planned to shock and keep viewers fully hooked. But don't think for a moment that the goal was just to scare or shock you. The director wanted you to feel torn, to laugh nervously at its absurdity, all while squirming at the same time.
I had to kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake. Now it's time to erase that mistake.
He used almost comic book style violence to make a point, and it held up a mirror to society, showing how people had become desensitized to bloodshed in the media and revealed how corporations treat everything, even violence, as a product to sell. Number 8. Executives didn't understand the tone. It's crazy that a lot of executives and even the director himself did not understand the tone of Robocop at first. Can you believe they actually dismissed the script not once but twice? The director thought that it was just a mindless, violent action movie. It wasn't until his wife stepped in and pointed out the deeper layers, the sharp satire and commentary on identity and society, and that's when he finally saw the bigger picture. The crazy thing, he wasn't the only one confused. Studio execs and marketing teams had struggled with the movie. They couldn't figure out how to frame it, initially treating it as a straightforward action film without realizing it was also a bold takedown of corporate greed, media obsession, and culture's fixation on violence. Number 7. The movie was nearly rated X. The Motion Picture Association of America almost prevented Robocop from hitting theaters as we know it today. Originally, it had been slapped with an X rating, not because of any adult content, but due to its shocking violence. The director faced a tough challenge of submitting the film multiple times for review. 8 entire times it came back with an X rating before finally being approved with an R.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Ah, fuck you!
2 scenes in particular would cause the most trouble. One was the brutal, heart-pounding execution of Alex Murphy by Clarence Boddicker's gang, where Murphy's arm is blown off, and the other, the jaw-dropping moment in the boardroom where the ED-209 droid completely obliterates a junior executive. The director had to cut these scenes down, dialing back what he thought was funny violence in order to make it feel more serious and intense. Number 6. The movie predicted corporate dystopia eerily well. It might be crazy, but this movie made decades ago actually predicted the future. Robocop stands out as one of the most uncannily accurate sci-fi films because its vision of the future feels disturbingly real. A world where giant corporations run public services, police departments controlled by private companies, profit prioritized over the well-being of people, it all mirrors today's reality. In the movie, a company called Omni Consumer Products runs Detroit's police force and replaces public institutions with corporate ones. Back then, it seemed almost like a joke, but fast forward to today, and now you see private security companies doing police-like jobs, big corporations running hospitals and prisons, and giant tech firms influencing governments. The lines between corporations and public services have blurred so much that it's hard to tell who's really in charge. It all feels really similar to the world of Robocop. Number 5. Commercial parodies were added late. Remember those hilarious fake commercials in the film? They weren't only there for laughs, they were a masterstroke of storytelling. The screenwriters had a plan from the beginning. These media breaks, like the outrageous ad for the 6000 Sucks car or the chaotic Nukem board game, were designed to pull you into a dystopian world driven by greed, consumerism, and media saturation. But here's the crazy part. Those satirical segments weren't even fully locked in until much later during editing.
I brought you some food.
No, thank you. I'm not hungry.
The director, along with his creative team, realized the ads could do more than just poke fun, so they used them to break up the movie's heavy violence, giving viewers a breather and driving home the film's biting critique of corporate culture. That way, the fake commercials became essential transitions, which helped to add depth and meaning to the story. Number 4. The script evolved daily on set. Many people may not believe it, but a lot of the scenes were rewritten on the spot, sometimes only hours before filming. The director and his crew would be huddled together each morning, tweaking dialogue, adjusting story beats, or even scrapping entire pages to make things work. Actors were handed freshly updated lines right before takes, or sometimes while the cameras were already rolling. It was like the script came alive, shifting and changing under the weight of the production's demands. Nobody knew exactly what to expect, and that made every day on set unpredictable and full of surprises. Number 3. Robocop's POV shots were nearly impossible. Robocop's iconic POV shots with those crosshairs and scrolling data were a complete nightmare to film. It wasn't as simple as adding in a digital overlay in editing. This was 1986, and the crew had to rely on old-school optical effects. First, they filmed the scenes normally, then piece by piece they added the targeting graphics and data using a process called optical compositing. Every shot had to be incredibly steady. Even the tiniest camera shake or mistake in framing could ruin everything. Imagine Peter Weller wrapped head to toe in that stiff and bulky suit. Moving unnaturally was not an option. Every motion, whether it be turning his head or walking, had to be slow, precise, and machine-like to match the POV shots. Nothing could go wrong. The team had choreographed every single step to make it work, and it's wild to think about the level of detail and patience that's required, all to bring the perfect view of what it's like to see through Robocop's eyes. Number 2. The satire was more clear overseas than in the US. When Robocop hit the theaters, it was packed full of action, metal, and explosions, but there's something surprising. Underneath all that excitement was a smart and powerful message hiding in plain sight. The movie was a razor-sharp satire, mocking corporate greed, privatization, and the media frenzy that had dominated the 1980s. Yet in the US, many had missed this hidden layer at first. Critics and audiences were shocked by the action and sci-fi thrills, but they didn't see the hidden dark comedy. Meanwhile, overseas, something different happened. International audiences caught the satire right away. They saw the movie for what it really was, a bold critique of American capitalism, Reagan-era politics, and consumer culture. They noticed the absurdity of media-driven consumerism and the chilling message about corporations controlling public institutions. And over the years, even American critics began to recognize this deeper meaning. Number 1. The movie was originally thought to be unfilmable.
I kissed the mayor's ass goodbye!
Initially, Robocop was thought to be completely unfilmable, not because the story was bad, but because people in Hollywood didn't believe it could actually be made into a real movie. You have to think about it for a minute. A script about a half-man, half-machine cop living in a satirical, ultra-violent Detroit? A lot of people thought it was too weird. The script was rejected by studio after studio, and they all thought that it was risky, confusing, and simply too strange to work. How could you mix exciting action, science fiction, and dark humor while also making it something people would actually enjoy? Even Orion Pictures, the studio that finally said yes, wasn't so sure it would work. Could they really make the Robocop suit, create action scenes that wowed audiences, and keep the sharp humor that made the idea special? It seemed like the odds were completely against it, but Robocop defied all the doubts, becoming a sci-fi classic. What's your favorite memory or thing about Robocop? Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe so you know when I always upload another video like this. If you've got any recommendations, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.